All right, hello everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu. You're just tuning into another episode of the TLOY Talks podcast. You can get this on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Buzzsprout, Patreon, much more, and all that too. You can definitely check out Patreon with the tiers that we have. Highest tier, you get the highest perks. Basic tier, you get the basic perks and all that. But enough talking about that. Yo, I just want to get this started right here. So we actually have, one of the pioneers that blended spoken word with alternative jazz, rap, and even with underground hip hop and all that. Has done many shows throughout the city too. Has like a lot of releases such as the Esplanade, the Red Project, the Much Love EP, and most recently with Incense via GTR and URBNET Records too. Probably seen her on many ciphers and all that too. You've probably seen her at many events, like killing it, like behind the bars, behind the stage, and all that too. And yeah, we have a legend in the building, Eyeda Sophia. How are you doing today?
Wow, legend. Thank you. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. I haven't spoken to anyone in a really long time.
Yeah. Like, when I first saw like a lot of your content like back in the day too, because I know like back in like 2016, like 2017, 2018, like those times and all that too, you were paving a way within like the new voices of like Toronto hip hop, Toronto rap and all that too, with a lot of the freestyles, the ciphers and all that too, with the projects. And I think you were like kind of like all around when it comes to your sound and all that too, like when it comes to the true essence of like hip hop and all that too, because like not a lot of people like take it in with how they like blend it into with like various like genres and like cultures and all that too. But you do it well with like spoken word, underground hip hop, and like even with the like jazz rap as well too. And like I think it's like very interesting and unique too. And like not a lot of people can really like do that in a way too. And even being signed to GTR, it's like a big like flex like in a way too, because I know like they have a very big roster too with RJ, with Newson, Pudge, Heartbeats, even like Crooks as well too. Like they're all doing their thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and GTR, first time I ever linked up with them, I was really surprised because I find sometimes in Toronto there are collectives with a standout artist, but everyone was dope. I was just like, I was really excited to start working with them. And yeah, I've been doing the cipher thing for a long time. Like before Uber existed, we would bring Long McQuaid speakers and amps in our hands on the
Yeah, true, true.
subway to Dundas Square. Yeah, Sankofa
Yeah,
Square.
for sure. Like the ciphers, like back in the day too. Like you had it with some of like the people I knew too, Sabali, um,
Oh
Ed Herbs and
wow.
all that too. Like Herbs does his thing as like Aloe Herbs and all that too. Master like Inferno as well too. And like I think this other like Roots K and all that, she's like very dope as well too. And then I think with Realize you had like one with the whole like 'cause they were doing like like I think it's like beatboxing and all that too. But yeah, like that was like very proper like in a way. So yeah.
Yeah, we used to do that. We used to have like the ciphers with the beatboxing. I was in a cipher with Roots. She's dope.
Yeah.
That was like a DJ Merciless cipher or something.
Yeah.
Back when I was honestly a teenager or maybe
Yeah.
early 20s. Yeah, we were doing all types of things, and I think at the time I had just transitioned out of making music with my brother and spoken word,
Yeah.
and I love hip hop, so I was like, let's do something that everyone can access.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah,
It's amazing to see. I want to get it like started off like in the very beginning and all that too. So you grew up in Toronto, correct?
yeah. I moved around so much, but honestly, I grew up in Vaughan. I grew up in North York, multiple different areas. I grew up in the city. I've been kind of everywhere except Scarborough.
Oh, true, true. So like the environments like around that time as a kid, like was it like very like great to like grow up in, like Vaughan, North York, Toronto for the most part?
I mean, we live in a very dope city. It's multicultural, it's every type of food. You can find your community and your people if you look for it. So I always love that about the city.
Okay,
You
cool,
can always find your people.
true,
Yeah.
true. Like what's your background by the way too?
My mom is, well, I'm Canadian, but my mom is from Guyana and my dad is Canadian, like Jewish. They're like
All right, true,
European.
true.
Yeah.
So like you get like these like great infusions of cultures with like Jewish food, with Guyanese food, like all the other type of stuff too. And as you said, like there is like a variety of things that you could like try out, like for music, for culture, for everything else too. So I definitely agree like on that part. So
First of all, I'm so sorry. Guyanese food slaps. Eats Jewish food is all right. But I learned about both. I went to temple on Sunday. I went to Hebrew school on Wednesday. So I kind of learned about both cultures.
yeah, true, true. But like I'm in Lakas like still like slapping all that too.
And well, my mom would make Guyanese versions of that stuff, like Guyanese latkes. Oh, so
True,
good.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They have the couple things for
yeah,
sure.
true, true. and what the bagels with salmon and the cheese and all that too. Like that's like also like proper
That was
too.
classic Jewish. You're right. You're right.
True, true. But yeah, I mean, guidance with slaps either way too. But even growing up, what were you like from the start until now and all that? You know?
Um, I think from a very young age, I was very into music. My dad is a music head. My mom would just like play music cleaning up on Sundays. I was always into the creative aspects of life. I was just a little theater nerd too. I was on that. Both me and my brother, we liked to act things out, sing, record, active in the school plays. I was always into that. I was always into that. I will say I'm a bit socially. I've always been a bit socially awkward, maybe. But you grow up, you learn to like conversate, mask those things. I think I grew out of that for
All
sure.
right, proper. And aside from like family and even from like like Vito and all that, like what were like your other like introductions like to music and all that too? Were they just like those two, or like were there like other ones where you were exposed to like your parents like playing like music like in the house and all that, or from friends or family and all that?
Mm, that's a great question. Like I said, one of the first places I heard music was in both the synagogue and temple. That and my father growing up would play like just a lot of blues, jazz. Like we would hear like Etta James. We would hear a lot of Miles Davis. I love Miles Davis kind of blue. Grew up on that. Stevie Wonder, tons of Stevie Wonder, or even just like tons of stuff. Cocoa Tea, some reggae. Like there was soca. I had so many different avenues to pull from in terms of music, and they were all very contrasting. Hip hop was something I personally found, and when I found it, I was really captivated by lots of aspects of the culture, but one of them was how it ties into politics. I've always been very interested in politics and the world and how it moves in regards to what's going on. So hip hop was something that I was like, wow, this art form is extremely radicalized, especially at the time when I was listening to it. And I did all my back research on it because I was just completely just in love. I fell in love with hip hop.
Agreed, and what I could say about like hip hop, like aside from like rock, soul, and even like funk music too, like hip hop, like even spoke about like politics, like from way back then, like NWA, like F the Police and all that,
Exactly.
friggin' Public Enemy, like Fight the Power and all that, Dead Prez, like hip hop and all that too. You could definitely like find something that speaks more about like the injustices of the culture and like even like situations going on and all that too. Like even there were like some like rappers and artists that were talking about the whole like Palestine Israel thing like way prior to what it is like now and all that. But I think now it's like now everyone's like trying to speak up in like whatever they do, whether it's through the alternative stuff, whether it's through social media and all that too. Like you definitely see like people being more outspoken when it comes to like injustices and everything else for the world. So
Well, I do think that virtue signaling has become popular, but I remember Lupe was one of the people I found out about the conflict in Palestine about years ago. This is when I was, I don't know, 11, 12. I learned about Dick Cheney through through hip hop. I think it was like Immortal Technique or something.
yeah,
And just like the corruption of American politics in particular, how it affects the global world, how it affects the global West, and just how we live on a daily basis. These things are super important. And hip
yeah.
hop is an art made for marginalized people by marginalized people, Black and Latin people. So you're gonna, the essence of hip hop is going to have radical thought and some at least provoking. It's at least going to be thought provoking. So yeah.
Yeah, even like Lil Wayne was also like I know he did a song called like Georgia Bush where he spoke about the whole like Hurricane Katrina type stuff. So I think like even for him, like someone who doesn't really speak about politics much, like that was like his most like outspoken song of like all time too. Jay-Z did some stuff here and there, but it is what it is. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, yeah. As far as you getting into rapping, spoken word, and like making music, how did you like get into those?
I remember one day I just started writing. I think it was about like probably like 10, 11, and I just started writing. It's actually a fuzzy time in my life, if I'm going to be quite frank, because it was just a hard time for me. And certain memories are a bit distant, but I remember writing. I just remember writing. And I remember when I turned 16 was the first time I actually went out of my shell. And it was because I think I had like a teacher tell me you should go perform this somewhere. And yeah, I went and I was like, wow, like these are my people.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to hear. And like even like the audience like reaction to it, like from your performances, like how did they react like when you like did your first like spoken word
Mm.
thing like at those events, you know?
I'm not gonna lie, I got so gassed up because I was also a lot of young people deal with this too, but I struggled with self-worth, and I didn't know if my music or my thoughts or my feelings were worth sharing at the time. And it very much validated me. It did. And then seeing all the other poets as well sharing similar concepts or just even the passion that we all shared, I was like, wow, okay, so maybe this is something that people might want to hear me share. But I was geeked. I was like, wow, people like this? I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's amazing to hear. And I mean, even like prior to you starting music, you were like actually like a battle rapper at one point as like Bayonetta. So how did you even like into battle rap, and what was that experience like? You know, like even doing these battles with like Yasmin and like the guy with like the Leafs like jersey and all that too. So because I guess like those were like some interesting times back then. You know?
Yeah. Shout out to Yasmin, sweetheart. Uh, they beast mode. I think at the time I had a couple. I used to make music with my brother. He's a vocalist. Had a couple like albums out with him, and I was still making music. And beast mode reached out to me. They were probably just looking for women, honestly. And I don't think I had the passion for it in the same capacity that I do writing stories and poetry. It was cool. I think I did about 3 battles, and then after that, I was like, "I don't know if I wanna do this anymore." I think it was a white guy I battled, and he dropped the N word. I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Sorry. But, like I said, Yasmin, sweetheart. I think she was my first battle. She's such a great girl. But yeah, I was okay. I'm a much better writer. I'm a much better creative in different aspects, and I think I'm good with self-awareness, so I know where my strengths lie. It was fun to do, though. It was fun to try out.
Yeah. And how's it like even like being next to, like Shawty, like her and all that too? Because he was like judging one time and all that. Because and he's like a big battle rapper as well too. So like that would have been like a very like peak experience in a way.
I think I remember being like, "Damn, this is trash, and I have to do this right here," but I'm hard on myself. I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't that bad. It was kind of like 23 or something, and I was finding out what I was good at and what I really wanted to do still.
Yeah, true.
But definitely a bit nerve wracking. Usually, once I'm like I said, a bit of an awkward or sometimes nervous person. Once I get on stage, a lot of artists can relate to this. You get in the zone and you black out a little. So after that, I was good, but definitely the before and after is like, damn.
Yeah. I know what you mean too. And I guess for people that want to pursue like battle rap too, like it's like, you know, you have to kind of be like emotionless and all that sort of stuff too. Or like what would you say for them to pursue it, you know?
Well, I'm the funniest person to ask for advice on this because I am super emotional. Do it if you love it. Try it out, sure, but do it if you love it. If you don't love it, leave it to the people who love it and are good at it. I watch battle rap. I don't do battle rap.
Yeah,
That's where
true,
I'm at
true.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know what you mean too. I
Yeah.
think Jay-Z, like he did the GQ interview, he said that battle rap is like a little bit like toxic for the culture now because of the negativity and stuff like that too. And I don't know if you like agree on that too, but I think with most people too, like does kind of make sense like in that situation where it could be like very negative and like it takes a toll like on mental health and things like that too. So
I wouldn't say that battle rap in particular is toxic, although I see what he's saying. What I think right now is I think culture in general, and this exists outside of hip hop culture. I hate when people try to put things onto specific art forms. Right now, culture is toxic, okay? We have like gender wars, red pill. It's probably a bad time to be in an outspoken art form, sorry, because people are going to say what they want, and sometimes it's not always the best thing.
yeah.
But I think that applies to a lot of different arts. Like right now, you could say pop music is toxic to a certain extent. You can say a lot of things are. But I mean, sure, there are certain elements of battle rap that lean into that because it's very male dominated, as is hip hop though. Um, and you're supposed to be like have bravado and be
Yeah, yeah.
aggressive. I like that though. That's what I like about
True.
it.
And you know, be cocky in a way too, because I think like it leads to like, you know, cockiness and just, you know, if you have like pride, you know, you do it and all that too. As you said, like do it if you want to do it, you know. So yeah.
Respect the people around you in any craft you're in, and it won't be toxic.
Yeah, yeah. Facto. As far as like your inspiration on becoming an artist and all that, so like what inspired you to even become like a rapper, a spoken word artist, and even just like a main artist and take it like seriously and like take it as a career, you know?
Trust my sister, my mom, they were like, "Be a doctor, be a lawyer." Uh, I saw this clip of Diana Ross speaking recently, and she spoke about how if you have a pull towards something, especially in the creative realm, you should follow it. We have a very small understanding of life and what happens after. For as far as I know, within this body, this is the life I have. I wanted to do this. That's why I did it. And it's not easy. Like I've been in the game now for 10 years plus, put out a lot of music. I've done a lot of stuff that has had no payback, just for the sake of community or the love of the actual culture. And you have to do it because you love it. If you do it because you want to get clout or you want to make it, I don't know, it's not worth it. Like go to school and do something else then,
Yeah.
where you can make a big bag because the way streaming is set up, the way the game is set up, it's not easy to make money out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's like a lot of things that do like come by and all that too, and like we'll probably like discuss like later on like about like the issues of that. But I think like one of your biggest peaks, I think as an artist right now, you know, rapping this way, like even if it's not like in the physical format too, like you managed to meet him like in the bedroom bars, like IG life thing and all that too. So tell me more about that and like even interacting with you. And I don't know if he managed to like give you like any advice and all that, you know?
I was so excited. I didn't excuse me, I didn't think he was gonna end up picking me because there was a huge lineup of artists, and I think it was like my 4th week coming back. I told all my friends, I was like, "Everybody, like, sign up for this." A couple of my friends got on too. We were just so excited because sometimes the infrastructure in Canada feels a bit limiting, and it's hard to reach your, like, people you look up to, the legends. It's hard to reach them or find opportunities to connect with them. So when that happened, I was just really excited. I think I started off with a little verse and that didn't feel right, and I was nervous, and then I rolled into a freestyle and that felt organic and it was just fun and it was really fun. I don't think I've reached out to him after that for advice, but Sway, you should get me on. You should get me on.
Yeah, because I remember like Sway back in the day too. Like I remember in 2016 he did like a whole like cipher thing. I think this was like on like the NBA All Star Weekend too, and like, there were like bigger people like that pulled up too. I think Deja SB they pulled up. There was like some other Toronto artists. So I think Phoenix Pagliacci or like Lola Buns like came up and did some
They're all
stuff
dope.
too. Yeah, but I think too because you don't really see like a lot of like tastemakers like come by to Toronto to actually like tap in with the artists too. But I think now it's like starting to improve there with like some like social media platforms and artists like coming by, like doing some like content with the artists too, and like you know it works out for the most part, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah, Toronto has been building its own story for a while now, and I think there's a lot more space to grow in the city than there used to be even 10 years ago.
yeah, that's facts. And as far as like your unique style of like spoken word poetry, atmospheric jazz rap, and even like underground like hip hop, tell me more about those and like infusing those genres to making it like in your own sound and all that. No,
Mm. My style really is just an amalgamation of all the things I've ever loved in terms of like sonically speaking. So I love jazz, I love blues. I also just love words. I love poetry, which is the essence of hip hop, to a certain extent, right? Like there's so many elements that make it important, but that was an element that spoke to me at a very young age. And it all comes together to make a sound that is reminiscent of all these genres. I think I can be very, I don't know if aggressive is the word, in a freestyle, and then people will hear my music and be surprised because it is very emotionally driven and it's very, I guess, poetic. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. And I mean, also interesting like the name as well too, like Ida Sophia. So I think with the eye, I think like it kind of makes sense to you know like with the whole like third eye situation too. But in terms of like just like Ida Sophia, like how did you get that name?
That's my govy without my middle names. Oh, sorry, my last name. So it's my first and my middle.
Okay.
So just when I first started working, I remember I had a girl who called me Ida So. Hey, Glow. um, and then everyone just called me Ida So, Ida Sophia. And I was like, perfect. I think it has a nice ring. I can't be Ida. It's too close to idea, you know? So I just like added my last name on, or sorry, my middle name on there.
Yeah, no, interesting too because I think there was like another artist named Idea and all that, like with the I and then DEA. He was on like the HBO battle rapper thing with the KRS One and all that too. He had a pretty interesting career too. And then I think he passed away like later on too. But yeah, like you don't really see like a lot of like interesting names like in the city and all that, So
Yeah, yeah. Wow, sorry to hear that. That's wild because Idea also passed away. Let's hope the name is not,
yeah, I know
I
what
don't
you
know.
mean. Yeah. Like even being in many ciphers too, because we talked about it like I think like way prior to like how you were like in all of these and all that too. So like the one with like Master Inferno, the one with Realize and all that too. Even like the performance one, like I think at the Drake Hotel, like during like COVID and all that too. So like, what was that experience like? Being in many ciphers, and was it something that helped like your artistry like in a way and all that?
Yeah, I think being in all of the ciphers, the number one thing, because we were already doing that for free on the streets. I think the best aspect was building more secure community. There were people I met at some of those, like Roots and stuff, where I was like, "Oh, you're dope," and I don't know if I would have met you outside of this. So number one, community. Number two, pushing yourself because there's a natural aspect of that's just feeling competitive, Like if you're hungry, if you're thirsty and you're starving for it, it's just like hopping on a feature. You're gonna go extra hard. So I think it's like it helped me push my craft too, especially back then. I was talking a lot less about emotions and I was just really playing with wordplay and how many words I could fit into
Yeah.
a syllable or like a bar, a stanza. So I think it was like it was just really fun. It was really fun and it was really great for community building.
Yeah, facto. The idea of like ciphers too, it's like very interesting too because on the radar they just recently dropped their like whole cipher too with like the Ravons, with the Chris Patricks, with friggin' Ruben Vincent, and then I think there's like some other ones that did like a lot of stuff too. How do you feel about the current state of like ciphers like right now in like the current like mainstream like hip hop scenes?
I think we're in a great place. I think um I think the radar is replacing Double XL for the new lineup. I think that there are so many great artists, whether underground or slightly more mainstream. We have so many options. Tons of women in the scene killing it. It's a great time to be in music in general, but hip hop specifically. There's a great resurgence that has happened. You can argue if it was the beef with Kendrick or Drake. I don't know. That's not like specifically where I think I started. I think it's been happening for a while, and people want a return to authenticity. And I think that spans past hip hop,
Yeah.
like just in terms of content creators, everything. We're sick of fake shit.
Yeah. Because I think when like the whole like cipher like build up like happened in 2016 too with Double XL, because I remember the hip hop heads like complained like that's not like real music, woo 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 woo, and then they managed to become like big successful like stars like later on too. Because I think that cipher like it did create like authenticity with like people like having fun and all that too with the Kodaks, the Uzis, the Yachty's, 21s, and like it lets like other artists like doing the same thing too. I feel like it just like dropped the bar like lyric wise too. Like, it's like kind of like, like elementary in a way too, but you can understand it in your own perspective too. And like I kind of get like how everyone wants like authenticity back with like some of like the new stuff too. And I think as you said, like OTR is like doing the thing too in replacing like double XL too. And I guess it's like kind of like, for double XL to like improve and maybe improve the bar for a bit, I guess so.
And you know what? That's one of the best ciphers, like Kodak cipher. My thing is, I have no problem with people approaching hip hop or lyrics in whatever capacity. It really is just about authenticity. If it feels real, it's real. It doesn't have to be the most lyrical miracle thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I think just somewhere along the way, there was a lot of, I don't know if it's industry plants or like just like streaming culture. A lot,
I think they like force feed content in a way to
yeah.
where like it's not within the audience's approval, but now when you see it in the audience's like format too, like it improve, like it helps them like say like, hey, this is like what we want and all that too, and like you do tend to see like more positive like outlook and like rhetoric from the audience rather than just from like what like a label head's gonna say or like an A&R head or a professional like in a way. So
Yeah, and in the state of the world right now, we need that.
yeah, yeah,
I
true.
think music is inherently political. You know what I mean? So music is gonna sound like what the world needs at the moment, and I think that's also showing.
Yeah. I'm gonna spin the block on this too to make it more Toronto based because I had this guy named Amarodi on the podcast a while back too. He said that Toronto needs to bring back like MC culture in terms of ciphers, freestyles, like so on and so forth too. So do you ever feel like it needs to come back through the ciphers and through the freestyles from the Toronto artists and like everyone around too, or do you feel like
Mm.
there should be like another way like around it? No.
This is my blind spot because the worlds that I exist in, these things are happening every week. So does Toronto need to do more of it, or do people need to pay more attention? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen so many ciphers going on. There is stuff. There's stuff going on. It's just underfunded, and sometimes underappreciated.
Yeah. Definitely agree. I think it is like more of an audience thing where like a lot of people like do like really need to tap into, because I think when they see Toronto content, they're gonna see the basic stuff too, with the whole like stupid Toronto like accent debate and all that, or like some of like the Toronto like cringe content and all that. They're not really seeing like the authenticity of like the content that comes in, because sometimes it doesn't really hit the algorithm in a way too. And I think like what should push in a way too is like, like even like just like getting like them to check it out through like different ways too. Like sometimes through ads, sometimes you share it right away to like word of mouth, like word of kin for the most part too. And I think that works. And as you said too, like like for like a lot of like companies and like corporations and people should be someone to step up to. And like I think like there are ones that are like really doing it as well too. So
Yeah, there's stuff. There's stuff going on. It's just we're still working towards. A lot of people are working towards getting the funding because sometimes it goes to a particular sound or like
yeah, yeah.
but it's out here.
That's facts.
Yeah.
And like, one thing about you too, like what I noticed is that you kind of like grew up with like a lisp, like in a way too, like when you communicate, when you speak and all that too. So was it something that kind of like set you back in your full potential, or do you feel like it helped you a lot to kind of take in like the next step forward and getting people to like pay attention, like recognize and all that? No.
I think at first, I remember the first poetry competition I ever did, and mind you, I won it. Somebody came up to me after and they were like, "You're great, but you need to go to speech therapy for your lisp." And I remember at the time I've always had a lot of support, so I had my brother with me and my best friend, and they were like, "Fuck that." They like my lisp. It gives me a different sound. I don't know. It's something I considered when I was younger. Now I feel like it's a part of my sound. It's a part of my vocals, which are very signature. And I think that it pushed me to improve my clarity of voice. Because I have a lisp, I need to make sure you can hear me. So it's something I practiced over my careers. And now if you listen to my lyrics on a record, I think that everything is very pronounced. And that's because I had to work extra hard.
Yeah, amazing to hear and all that too. And I want to like dive into like the new music in a way too. Like you just recently dropped your EP, Incense, with GTR and Urban and all that too. So, like, what was like the creative process and inspiration for that EP and all that?
Creative process. I remember I was going through a lot emotionally at the time and I hadn't created in a while. And I think Ghost Boy just like sent me some beats and it was the first track I wrote was Earwax. If you listen to the project, you'll know it's like a rather emotional song. And I just wrote it. I just wrote it. It just came out. I think I actually was crying while I was writing it. It was pretty intense. And then Ghost Boy sent me a couple other beats, and I was just like, I don't know, it was a really good fit. And I hadn't felt that way in a while because I had obviously had other people send me beats and it clicked. It was nice, but there was just something that resonated with his production in particular that like I felt I could express the things I needed to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And what I liked about it is like, like with whole like stanza breaks and even like verse by verse, you could tell like it is like very poetic in a way too, and it blends well with the current production that, RJ is like using for the most part too. And I like this quotation right here, like where poetry and vulnerability meet atmosphere grounded in our senses and all that too. So, within like the highest of the high too, within the five like senses, like touch, taste, feel, like well, touch, taste, smell, see, and then hear for the most part too. So tell me more about that quotation. No?
I think because I was going through so many different gauges of emotions at the time and my life was a bit up in the air. The story of the album takes you through the different experiences of the highs and lows and the depths of which each emotion or sense can bring you to. I like to think that when I make music, I try to incorporate an aspect of something conceptual that you can wrap your head around that creates that creates a feeling, not just the sound. You can feel what we're trying to communicate. And that was just something that felt right with the album, especially after I got the second beat. It was like, okay, Earwax is done. That was obviously based on your sense of hearing, and just everything flowed seamlessly between the exploration of the senses and writing the songs. And so the concept was kind of built throughout the writing process.
Yeah, to give it more of a cinematic like feeling away too, because every track that I've heard, it has like more of a cinematic like feeling when you hear it from like the start to end too, and you can definitely feel like you're actually in that moment, like with the artist, like when they're
Mhm.
like speaking and all that too. So like that's like pretty interesting in a way,
Yeah, and I find that Ghost Boy's beats are very texturally interesting, especially the stuff he was sending me, and it just felt right. It felt so right, like that we could take everyone through this experience of highs and lows through the senses.
Yeah.
It's the most simple way to approach experiencing life, but also it's a beautiful thing. So,
And led to him being the executive producer and like the main producer for the project too. So I guess it was an interesting experience, like working with him and all, didn't know.
oh, it was so chill. I think we got along right away. Like I said, sometimes I can be a bit weird, but he's just like, "It's cool." And I have, like, a best friend who's a DJ too, so she would come through, and once Rajsi liked him too, I was like, "Okay, bet." Like, we're all gonna get along.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And as far as like meeting him, like how did you like guys like link up like prior to like the project and all that?
We actually had a track out already. We met through Unity Charity. Probably generally in the community, but, like, Unity Charity. And then we did a workshop together with Mika, who is a feature on Roundabout Drive. Yeah.
All right, bless. And I want to like speak like a little bit like about like Unity Charity and like even like with the other stuff too. So, like, do you feel like they're doing like a lot to like help out the city and like showcase like hip hop and all that too? Like, I know there's like Unity Charity, there's Manifesto. I think there's like some other ones as well too. But I think like those two, like those actually like help out with the community like a lot, like within like music and all that.
Unity for sure. Unity goes to schools. Like, there are programs Unity ran that I wish I had access to as a kid. Unity also, I got to see Jizza front row for free because of
Yeah,
Unity. They're always doing stuff like that. I love Unity. I got a lot of love for Unity. I think they're a great staple in the Toronto community, specifically for hip hop, breakers, MCs, spaces where you can learn and build community. There's a lot of places to build community, but you can learn things in Unity, and I always appreciated that.
sure. Even like there's like other ones too. Like I think like 40 Ounce Heroes, like they were putting
Mhm.
on like a lot within Toronto community within music, hip hop, R&B, and all that. There's Academy Presents too, like with shows. Like I know Jesse's like doing this like thing for the most part too, and showcasing that. And then I know like Brampton Arts Council, like Mississauga, like Arts Council, like I know they have like a lot of stuff too, like within the Mississauga Brampton communities as well too. So shout out Spitty, shout out John, like everyone else too, like being involved. So, but yeah,
Yeah, Jesse's good people. I think the Academy is doing some cool stuff in Saga right now.
yeah,
Rec
yeah,
Room, right?
yeah, yeah,
I need to stop by one of those. Looks really cool.
for
But yeah,
sure,
they're still doing their thing. Yeah,
for
we have
sure,
we have outlets. We have places to go. There's also like granting bodies. Like in America, you don't have
exactly.
access to that. Can if you have mentorship, you can do stuff here. I find that it's hard to do on your own
Yeah,
without community, without mentorship.
yeah,
But yeah.
100%. And you recently just got signed to Ghost Town Records and URBNET, and having like just like this like new release and like others like on the way too. So tell me more about getting signed and like that feeling like being signed to GTR and URBNET and having like someone to help you like financially to like push like a lot of like these like releases and all that. No,
It was so great. I've only ever done it myself prior to this. Like everything, rollouts, and I'm not a social media person like that. I'm not a internet person. I like to be a hermit, stay home, read, hang out with my three friends, you know? But yeah, having a team actually changed my whole perspective. And I was even talking with Ghost Boy maybe like a week ago about how I'm still adjusting to being able to have help or reach out to people and be like, hey, I have resources. I'm still wrapping my head around it, to be honest, because like I said, I've been in the music world, sometimes gone, sometimes here, but for about a decade plus, including spoken word. So it's a completely different experience, and I think this is the only way people should be doing it. honestly.
Yeah, that's facts. And what I like about GTR as well is because I know like they focus like a lot on like pressing for the most part too, with vinyl pressing, CD pressing, and all that too. And like they're going to all these like markets to sell the records and all that. And having like certain communities like purchase the records and all that too, whether it's like on Record Store Day, whether it's through various releases, and you could actually like support them like fully right there. And that's what like a lot of like brands and labels should do for the most part too. Like like even getting into the pressing, because there are like people that do buy like the vinyls, the CDs, and all that too. And like, with like some like labels and collectives, like a lot of them have like a lot of like sync opportunities for the most part too, like in like first dibs. So like your song might be on a TV show or on a movie one day too, and like you could like recoup that like either way too through like proceedings and all that too. And like usually, if you have like a good lawyer, like that pretty much like works out either way, So
Yeah, yeah, and, like, sync opportunities is a great example of how to have, like, residual income, things that, like, you just don't think about when you just want to create. You need some, like, business-minded people around you to help you out with that, especially if it's a blind spot for you. So, for me, it's a blind spot. I like to create. I actually even more than creating, I like to perform. I like to be in community with people. That's, like, what I've always been doing. So, it's just yeah,
yeah.
adding the other elements really helps.
For sure. I actually want to talk about like your other music for a bit too, because you have like the Esplanade, the Red Project, and then the Much Love EP series and all that too. So, like, what were those like creative process and inspirations for those like projects and all that? No.
Much Love Part 1 was my baby, it's the first thing I put out. I think Much Love Part 2 was just like a shrooms trip or something. I would go to the cottage with my friends, we would do some music. It was just, it was just me figuring out my way to, like, who I am as a person in general. The Red Project was kind of where I pivoted into exploring the darker sides of myself, and I was hitting my mid-20s, so yeah, yeah, and then the Esplanade was a COVID album.
All right.
We put that out in isolation. I was like, "Let's do something," and we did that, and yeah.
All right. That's facts. One thing that I actually noticed too, I think I was like watching this like interview one day, and then it actually had you. I think you were like doing a music video at like the old like base station, when you go down to like the old base station, like the base station like underground, or like there's like a doorway. It'll take you to like the old like subway tracks and all that too.
You're
So
like Nardwar, man. That's wild. That's a music video I did with my brother Max back when we were a duo and he was a vocalist, and it was like a Doom sample or something, and yeah, we we went to the like, it's haunted down there, don't go there, like, the base station area.
yeah.
Yeah, wow, throwback.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really see like a lot of like Toronto artists like nowadays too, like do like music videos like there and all that too. So it must have been pretty interesting, no?
It was so cool, but also I believe in ghosts. Something weird's going down there. I'm not going back.
True,
But it
true.
was cool. I would do it again. We also did this video's taken down, but the Kodak 9 building that I think is demolished now, but it used to be boarded up. We snuck in there and all recorded a video. But that place was also haunted. We
Yeah.
have footage of our camera getting just like smashed
Oh,
out of
fuck.
nowhere. Weird. I'm a
Yeah, man.
superstitious
Yeah,
person, so I
true,
don't know.
true. Keisha Fresh of the sorority, back in the day when she first started off, her Hollywood Fresh music video with like Dougie Fresh. So she actually shot it at the Empire State Building. I think when she was like I think 15 or 16 too, but she couldn't really go to the top because of like 9/11 and all that too. But there was like someone I think from like Fubu or from Kuji and all that, that they had like an office like inside, and so he basically allowed her to shoot the music video there, and then it made her like the first artist to shoot the music video like since like 9/11 and all that too. So like you never know where you're gonna like shoot like a music video at and all that too. So
Never know where you'll end up.
yeah.
Shout out to Keisha Fresh. She's super dope. One of my favorite MCs in the city.
Hondo P.
Yeah.
Like I definitely agree too. As far as like the Toronto Canadian like music scene, how do you like kind of like feel about it at the moment? And do you ever feel like there should be some changes on the direction of where the scene should go to?
I love all the OGs. I look up to everyone. For me, hip hop was something like I said. I felt like you need to do the math. You need to do the research. You need to know where everything comes from. Like Socrates, Chaos, Cardinal. Like we have dope hip hop that's not just Drake. That's not knocking Drake, but we have Michi Me. We have so much ill talent from this city from the 90s onward. So I love what the city has been able to do with just, we're West Indian. We have so much culture. We have so much diversity. You see that in our music. You see that in our history. And I don't think it's my place to say whether or not the culture is being pushed forward in the correct way. I see cool things going on. I think can they open up the Junos maybe to some other artists? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
But there's so many dope people still winning, and I like to see that.
yeah. I feel like they are like reintroducing like, new artists to the scene and all that too. LTL is like having like they're getting like a Juno like nomination too for Dog Rhythm Cypher too, and I think that's like amazing to see too.
That's dope.
I definitely love how they're showcasing like new artists like here and there too, whether it's for the best new artist, best new R&B act, and best hip hop act too, and all that. And I think some people are getting like the flowers like, either way too, and like others are like receiving it like in different ways too, whether it's like through signing or whether it's through like going across like the country too. And do I want like more appreciation like in the Toronto music scene? Like definitely like a little bit more. But I feel like as of right now, I think they are doing it in the right way where we're seeing like different artists. It's just like it's not like the whole like 1-2 thing where you see this person like doing the same thing every other year, like getting nominated like every other year or two. It's like they're showing like new acts like almost like every other day and all that too. Whether for radio, whether through award nominations, whether for like major events too. And it's amazing to see.
And that's why I bite my tongue with stuff like that, because I haven't checked the nomination, so I'm not trying to speak. This is like just how artists have been feeling maybe for a decade, but I feel the change coming. I genuinely feel it. And I think that also there are new people who I was talking with one of my mentors, Rosina from LOL, maybe like just like a couple years ago, and they were explaining to me how different people are getting onto the juror panels for even granting, and that's why different opportunities have been opening up. So things are changing, have been changing, and going in a good direction, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even like Flow 98.7, all the two. Although I do want to have them like add more hip hop like in their like radio plays for the most part too. Like I like that they're playing like a lot more like newer acts than like the older acts in a way too. Because I'm hearing like a lot of stuff from the Everything Goes Shans and like even with the Luna L's and much more and all that too. And like, they're showcasing it the right way where even one of my guys who's in like an R&B group, like his music is like getting played in like Flow 98.7, and it's amazing to see from each track to each track that it's not just like all like American or like dancehall acts. Like for the most part too, it's like purely Canadian like in a way too. So
And what I love about Canadian radio is I forget the percentage, but they have to play us. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think it was like 30%. I don't remember, but I love that. You always hear, if you're listening to the radio while you drive still, you're going to hear some like cool local stuff. So I like that about Canadian radio as
yeah,
well.
true. Even the CD stores like having like always like music of like Canadian artists too. Like that's like also like a plus as well too. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dope.
And before we get on to like the last question too, like basically I have like this like one like question that I do tend to add on to. So like I have a playlist called like CY's like Rising Acts too. So basically we update the playlist like every other month, and whether it's like someone who's on the podcast or anyone else who's like released like music like recently too, like we tend to do like 30 songs like max and all that too. And for people that do want to get to know you, like let's say someone's like listening right now, they're from like another part of the world, or someone that's in the city, but they might not know about not they might not know more about you and all that, like in a way too. So if you want to give like at least like free songs for them to recommend to for me to, and also for me to add on to the playlist. So what would be those like free songs that you would recommend for them that they might not know about you, or if they know you but they would like to know more about your music and all that?
Oh, that's such a great question. If you're going through something really difficult, you should listen to Good and Ugly off the Red Project. If you want to listen to something about heartbreak, but it's still a vibe, you should listen to Ballerina Farm off of Incense. And I'm going to throw in Earwax off of Incense as well if you're feeling introspective.
All right, proper. Definitely add those on, So, but for the last question that we have, that before we get on to the freestyle and all that too, like, what do you have for the rest of the year in terms of like any other music videos, creative projects, and so forth? And do you have like any closing remarks to say?
We're definitely working on a video for Ballerina Farm, and there will be more music coming. There's a possible hint at a second Incense. I'm not gonna give any more details, but that's in the works already. So lots of things coming. Lots of things coming for GTR. Lots of things coming just in general visuals. Just keep an eye out.
All right, Hondo P. Ida, thank you for letting the audience like know more about that. But I think this is like the time to shine right now too, you know. So yo, Ida's gonna spit an exclusive freestyle on the TY Talks podcast and all that too. It's gonna be very dope and all that. So she's gonna step in. I am going to step out. She's going to body this freestyle. Definitely listen when you can, you know.
Yeah. They so. Eyeda Sophia, I'm the best on the rowboat. Coast to Calio, Polo Loco. Far from conscious, pompous, God shit, no Johnson, but I'm magic with the baby powder. Save your power or stay on sour. Right now this is ladies' hour. Take a towel for this wet take. The worst always got the best hate. Blessed fate, even with less faith. Deep incision with precision to break or make like headline news. Empty pockets where I pay my dues, yeah. Where I sing my blues. Etta James and Ray Charles and state bars with pens like penitentiary. Penalties for pennies, penance for pretending to have the remedy. Mention me mentally with all the grandeur and the candor of a cancer. Rising and enterprising. Spreading my seed like a roadman and watering the whole land. No man could test me or disrespect me. Connect me to some next G's cause the rent is too high. That'll gray a blue sky and you try not to fall apart. First let's start with art and build up from the heart. Tear down the fucking condos built by John Doe. Not a prompt, I'm just going off, yo. I don't claim no title, nah. Gotta stay whatever came to me. Number one rapper in the game I never claimed to be. Still the same old me, bottle of old E. Breaking on head tops like B-boys with dead stock sneakers and sneaky links with seekers for something deeper. Eager to find my features of leaders of new school. True tool is the mind we misuse this design. Soon to confine to smaller space and call it chase. To find the realness, go ahead and burn this up and put it on a green disc. Go ahead and burn up if you feel this. Burn it down. The fucking clowns who live life on the scenic route. I hope you see my truth. They just feel the boot, cause the blaze is insane. Need the game rearranged. I'm not a Christian, but I'm crossing, sick of the hot scotch. I'm hot as scotch bonnet, sicker than deep coffins. They keep talking, but they don't hear me though. Sometimes I'm too nice, it's better if they fear you though. Now I'm Kruger, not street, but a straight shooter. Run home like Babe Ruth, her rhymes too ruthless. It's too much to digest, I don't wanna die just yet. Give me a couple more years and I'm blessed. I don't claim no title, no. Gotta say whatever came to me. Number one rapper in the game I never claimed to be. Still the same old me.
Woo! Proper bars right there. I'm not even gonna front, you know, like like you were like spitting it like crazy, you know. I think yeah, I mean you set the bar high and all that too, to be honest, because we haven't had like a lot of like women like on the mic so far. I mean, we only had like 2 women like on the mic, but I think, you know, you did your big one, you know, like I think everyone has to like clock that, you know, like that cypher, like that freestyle was like honestly crazy on a freeway beat, proper, you know.
Okay, gotta do it justice.
Yeah. Nah, but like Ida, it's definitely like dope having you on too. I do want to give you like your flowers too for like even like setting the tone in creativity within like hip hop and rap and like even with spoken word too. And I think like not a lot of people can do what you do and all that. And like I just want to like give like props like either way from that. And I wish like nothing but the best for you within your career, within your time at GTR and like everything else too. And I think, you know, like it's only up from there and all that too. I definitely see you like on a higher scale like within the next like several years, and like I hope you keep going either way, you know.
Thank you so much for having me. Top tier journalism. I really just enjoyed the convo.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. We'll definitely have you back on like for a part 2. We'll definitely convo from there, you know. So
okay.
Yeah. So yo, this is Josh, also known as Yashu. Another episode of the TLOY Talks podcast. You can get this on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Buzzsprout, Patreon, much more. Incense is now out now on all streaming platforms, or if it's in a store, you can get it like at your local like music store, whether it's from Sonic Boom, whether it's from Play the Record, much more and all that too. Definitely check those out too. Spotify, Apple Music, much more and all that. Eyeda, GHOSTBOYRJ, proper things, you know. But yeah, I mean, definitely check out this episode when you can too. Definitely check out like Eyda's music either way. So, but yeah, I mean, this is Josh, also known as Yashu, with GTR and URBNET's own Eyeda Sophia, a legend in her own way, you know. Signing off, you know.
Dope.
Yeah.